Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to TCG University. It's me, Noah, here with
James.
And we're doing another episode of Best Damn Deck. This time, we're doing Mono Earth Leo. James is the one that built this deck, so he has more to say than I will, I think, maybe. Otherwise, we're just going to jump right into it. Also, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Basic things we're going to go over is the core of the deck, the cards that we think are the most important to put in it, any specific tech cards that you can put in, and the weaknesses of the deck, in our opinion. We'll go over the summons as well, and then last but not least, we will round it out with the limit breaks. Core of the deck. Mono Earth Leo's whole goal is to play the card in the middle there, Leo, which we'll get into. Essentially, it just lets all your backups tap for any color. Meaning you're playing a mono earth deck, but you're playing a lot of multicolored stuff as well. You're taking advantage of that fact. You get one of the best elements for fortification. It's the best element to color fix with, just generically anyways.
Probably the best toolbox deck.
And it builds its backup lineup extremely fast, so we're going to jump right into it.
Toolbox color, sorry.
Yeah. So the first thing we have here is going to be Leo as our linchpin. Leo states that he gains 1k power for every character you control, other than himself, I believe.
Yep.
Oh, no. Yeah, other than Leo. And then backups you control can produce CP of any element. He's a one-drop 1k at base, but realistically that's never going to be the case because there's always something
like
else out.
6K.
Yeah. He's never super big, but he's never super small. And his whole goal is to just facilitate you to play whatever you need.
So you can color fix, yep.
Yep. So the two cards that we put in here that I think are just generically good, but also linchpins in this deck to get Leo out as soon as possible, or facilitate more cards into your deck, are going to be Vossler.
Searches for a king.
Which says, on EX, or just in general, but he's in EX first. When he enters the field, you can search for a job king, add it to your hand, which Leo is. He's a 4-drop 8k, and then he also says that when he attacks... during the turn, the cost required to cast your next forward is reduced by 2, cannot become 0. So it just makes things cheaper as well if he gets to live past that point. And his big thing is just to search and be a body on board, which is really nice because you kind of want to conserve your damage in this deck.
He searches Leo, which is king, but he also searches two other backups. We play Kolka
and Epitaph.
And Epitaph, which also Epitaph searches. Both can search Leo, but Epitaph specifically is put in there to search Leo.
To search out Leo.
And Kolka can search any Earth forward we want from our deck.
Yep. Or you can play 2-drop Kolka, which just says pitch a dude.
Yeah, which just says
which
pitch
is
a
fine
dude
because
Montleonis
can play it later. Next, we have Ingus. Ingus is a 6-drop EX burst 9k Warrior of Light that says the cost required to cast him is reduced by 1 for each Earth backup you control. So realistically, he's just Earth's version of Ash currently. So he can cost 1. And then EX burst, or just when he enters, you may search for an Earth forward other than card name Ingus and add it to your hand. So he searches for any forward in your deck.
1-drop searcher, which is disgusting.
And he's a 9k. He's a big beat stick.
Doesn't cost a lot. Play him for 1-drop. Searches anything from your deck practically. It's a crazy card.
So we always think that backups are important and integral cards to throw in. So we're going to go over the two backups I think are the most important to put into the deck. Is going to be Miner.
Which is something I think I'm specifically playing that other people aren't. But that's what
I think people play Miner.
I haven't seen him in this.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
the thing I've seen a lot is... well, at least we took one of our local players who's been playing this deck for a little bit.
Shout out to Connor.
I took his list to start out. I think they're playing 3 Amber and 1 Shinju just to immediately have 2 backups as quickly as possible. But
so Miner, when he enters the field, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a backup among them to your hand, and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order.
Getting to 5 backups as fast as possible is the main goal of the deck.
And he's multi-playable. And then he also has an ability that you can pay to tap him, put him in the break zone to draw a card. So he helps cycle and he's not sticky. So if you want to get rid of him and replace something else, you have the ability to.
Get rid of him, play another one of them.
Yep. Next is Leatherworker. Leatherworker is super simple. It's just a 2-drop backup that's multi-playable that says if you control 3 or more Earth backups, the cost required to cast Leatherworker is reduced by 2, meaning it's just free to put out. So it just helps build faster and conserves you cards.
Easy to play if you don't have any backups, you want to start out real quick. Easy 2-drop, just pitch a card, play him, or late or middle of your build, just drop him on the board.
Economy.
Yeah.
So these are the cards that we generally agree as being the core. James did want to throw in a mention to Montleonis. I think Montleonis is very important in the deck, but when I think of the 5 cards that make up the deck to start with, these are the cards I think of. I do think Montleonis is definitely like 6 or 7 in that whole thing, but Montleonis also just feels like a tech card sometimes too. It's however you want to describe it. So moving on from the core, we have the tech. I don't know. Why did it do it like that? Oh, you know what?
All hidden.
Yeah. That goes away. Okay, so we have the tech cards. So these are cards that you can put in the deck. These, I think, are the 5 most important cards that you can put into the deck that really help advance your gameplay. So obviously, Une just makes the most sense. Une will bounce a forward or a backup on enter, and then picks up summons whenever you need it to.
Vossler can make him cheaper, which is cool.
Vossler can make Une realistically cost 2.
You can making an Une cost 2 is pretty funny.
Yeah. Wool will always cost 4.
Wool is mostly like the game plan of what the deck wants to do. Which
you want to get 4 backups, put a Leo down.
You get 5 backups, tap 1, play Leo. There's no window to do anything. There's no passing priority. Then tap 4, play Wool.
Yeah.
Either they have an armor or they don't, and you restand 5 backups.
Yep. So Wool, as we've gone over before, for those of you who don't know,
we go over a lot of Wool decks.
Wool's in a lot of things, man. I've said this before. This card is the boogeyman of the game right now, and it will stay like that until they do something about it.
Yep.
Sophie was a problem, and they limited her to 1. Wool is, in my opinion, still a problem, and they haven't touched this card. But hey, if they haven't, splash them in everything you can. So you can only pay CP with backups, or produce by backups to cast Wool. He's got haste, first strike, brave. When he enters the field due to your cast, you activate all the backups you control, draw a card, and then he also says he can tap himself to choose a forward and deal a 5k damage. Super, super simple. He's just your beat stick. He's your go-to, I'm going to push with this guy. The next card we have in here is going to be Gilgamesh. This is the new Gilgamesh from currently Opus 22. This card states that when he enters the field... Sorry, I guess he has a top part that's there first. What is going on? Boop. There we go. Oh, lost it again. Cool. So if you control 5 or more backups, Gilgamesh gains 2k power and can't be broken by opposing summons or abilities that don't deal damage. So he's essentially a 9k, which is really cool. And then when he enters the field or attacks, you can pay 3, 2 of it being earth, 1 of any color. And when you do so, you choose a forward or monster and break it. He's your monster removal, he's forward removal, and he's a pretty sturdy dude because he's a 3-drop 9k. So he's very cost effective. The next card we have is Genova Synthesis, which only works in an Earth deck, and realistically, but it is one of your board wipes that you will end up playing in the deck.
It's a very strong card in this deck.
Genova Synthesis is a 5-drop 9k. When Genova Synthesis enters the field, deal 4k damage to all the forwards the opponent controls. If you control 5 or more Earth backups, deal 8k damage to all the forward the opponent controls instead.
Really good board wipe.
Next, we have, or I guess lastly, we have Riku. Riku states, I'm doing this, I don't think I put it in here.
In our build, we didn't play Riku, but I was trying to do some other things too.
So Riku basically does the same thing Leah does. All of your backups can tap for any CP of any color that they want. But also, when you cast a multi-element forward, you can choose an Earth forward in your break zone and add it to your hand.
She basically pluses just for playing dudes.
Or just balances with a refund, depending.
Yeah. She's really good in decks that want to max out the amount of multicolors they have. My deck was trying to go for a lot more just sticking to Earth, sticking to do what we do. We still played Une and Wool, but like we weren't trying to multicolor too much off the end.
Yeah. And obviously, the same will always be said. These aren't definitive decks. These are just outlines, essentially, that you can use and start with, and then tailor them how you want.
For sure.
Next, after the techs, we go over the weaknesses. So these are the cards that we think... Obviously, there's tons of more cards, but these are the cards we think are big weaknesses to the deck. We'll just kind of go through them here.
The deck is highly dependent upon its discard pile.
It is very dependent on its discard pile. So Mist Dragon and Irvine's ability to remove discard piles are really good, or remove select cards out of a discard pile are really good in case of Irvine. Mist Dragon also just protects you from any damage they try to deal, or it cancels any summons that they want to play. It's very limited on the summons it plays, but the summons it plays are almost always played because they're needed to at a point in time. So being able to tell them no is really good.
Yes.
Cuchulainn is, in my opinion, pretty self-explanatory, but really simple. It just blanks a dude and draws you a card. Now, unfortunately, you don't have a response to Leo when Leo is played. But any other time you have the chance to, Cuchulainn the Leo.
Or if you want to...
Because it shuts down their game plan. They have to pitch cards out of hand that match colors to try to get anything done. Or you can blank a Wool.
Or play Wool just because, or do it to Wool so you can kill the Wool.
You'll probably never see the games, unfortunately, because I was playing with one card less in my deck. Sad days because I dropped one in shuffling.
I'm still going to put them up. They're still good games.
But
now you're putting spoils behind it. I was just making a dumb joke about...
It's on the Patreon record. If you want to watch them.
Keeping my record clean.
Every time James played Suzuhiza, there was a Cuchulainn following it.
I played Suzuhiza, then on his turn he went, Cuchulainn? Kill it. And I'm just like...
Cuchulainn, play a thing with an auto ability. Get rid of it.
Or I'd play it, and then on my turn still, he'd go back attack, kill it. make it kill itself, and I'm just like,
I don't want you to do it on my turn. Gives you more options. But yeah, I think Kujaline's insanely fun and always a valuable card to play. And then the last two are going to be Amaterasu. Very self-explanatory. Just cancels any auto. Done.
A lot of
Easy.
good one-off autos that are just good to cancel.
Yep. The potential to kill something is always nice too, but it's just killing or canceling an auto is good.
Ingus. Wool's not a terrible one because it means I can't just do things
It
after
won't kill it,
Wool,
but it does say that it doesn't get to restand, which is really
which
good.
is very good because I usually have stuff coming. The Vossler. We play Ignis.
Genova Synthesis, it stops. It stops Qatar. It stops Une. Literally, just about every forward in that deck, it will stop.
Yep. Outside of
It
Leo.
could stop Suzuhiza as well if it wanted to.
Technically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is...
Can't break my Suzuhiza if he's already in the discard pile.
Doesn't feel good, but it doesn't stop Sophie because she's an end of turn trigger. But whatever. And then lastly, I put... This is a specific one for me because I think this card, especially after the Florida Materia Cup and watching this card get played so much, I think this card's insane. Zidane. I've had mixed feelings about Zidane on and off. I thought this card was not better than playing the other one, but that's also coming from a mill deck perspective. But this card being able to essentially showcase your opponent's hand to you so you know what they can play and what they have in hand, and then you get to snipe a card out. It's removed, so they don't get that back ever again, and they cycle one, that's fine. But you have a general idea of what their hand is, and you're able to get cards out of their hand as well. So you can slow down their game plan. Plus, he's nigh unblockable because a lot of people currently in the meta are playing things that are cost 3 and up, so he gets under all of that.
The only thing, the best part about him versus our deck, why he's the weakness, is because he gets to snipe things like Leo, all of our recursion, Leo specifically, and
if you're trying to build your backup lineup, he just snipes it out.
Snipes out backups.
He's a good. He's the same kind of card you want to play as the 3-drop Winzidane, where I'm gonna go search out something, or my opponent goes to search out something, and then in response, because before they decide to play it, if they don't play that turn, I snipe it out of their hand. They searched it for a reason. They're not gonna get it now. It will replace with whatever, but who cares? I get 2 cards to take out, replace with 2 cards. You're filtering through their deck faster than they probably want to. So yeah, that's where I am with the weaknesses. There's obviously more cards that you can put into that.
Oh,
100%. Especially if you just play like generic board wipes, I think are pretty okay. It just really varies.
I think the deck loses to Sid Rendell.
Yeah, it's a very auto-focused deck.
I don't know if it has any outs to Sid Rendell outside of summons.
No, I think summons are actually just the only way it gets out.
Yep.
Next, we go over the summons. So these... 4 of these summons I think are solidified cards that you put in the deck for sure, and one of them is a flex spot. So we're just going to go through. Kusith, pretty self-explanatory as well. Kusith is a 2 CP EX burst that says on cast or on play, whatever. You pick up a forward or a backup out of your break zone, add to your hand.
Cool.
Next, we have Titan. I actually like Titan. I think Titan was really cool. You can only pay with Earth CP to cast Titan. Doesn't matter when you play an Earth deck.
Yep.
You get to choose one of the 2 following actions. You choose a forward and deal it 9k damage, or you choose a dull forward and break it. So you either straight break a guy, or you just 9k guy.
It's really good versus Wool. If you're playing a mirror match.
Shuts Refia down.
Yep.
It both effects shut Refia down, realistically. And then next we have Hecaton Chair, which I think is the biggest flex spot in summons.
The 3-drop I'm playing?
Yeah. Just choose the backup of 3 or more and break it. I think it's a really cool card, and I think it's really good for slowing game plans down, especially in terms of Wool, because like if you shoot like King Tycoon, they lose their win CP, so you have to figure out something else, or you shoot a Tyro or whatever. But it's one of those things you can probably just swap it for something else if you realistically wanted to. Next is Hecaton Chair. It's just another board wipe in this deck. Plays board wipes very effectively. It deals 8k to the entire board, only during your turn, which... kind of sucks, but like it's fine. You're playing beefier dudes anyways. You might lose a couple guys here or there, but generally your big beat sticks, your 9Ks are going to stay in wreck shit anyways. And then lastly, Mist Dragon, which we've gone over already. Mist Dragon's busted. It will always be a good card. Also a card that I think eventually will have to be dealt with because if they decide to explore what they're doing with Cat 8 currently with the Tearlaments / Lightsworn type of motif, that card will shut that down every time. Because the second their break zone's filled up just enough, you're just bip.
That Mist Dragon turns that deck off.
Yeah, it shuts it off so quickly.
The other cool thing about the summons in this deck is we play the new 2-drop summoner from 22 that says pay 1, tap it, and break it. Discard an Earth card. you can cast a summon from your discard pile. You choose a summon. You can cast it from your discard pile at -3 cost, which is disgusting. So you just basically you just get to cast a Titan for free. The 3-drop Hecatonchir if you want for free.
Mm-hmm.
The Mist Dragon for free.
Kusith for free.
Kusith for free. The board wipe 8K or the 5-drop board wipe for 8K. Cast it for 2, which is gross.
I mean, I think in the end you're still technically like paying 5.
About the same, yeah.
But you get to play it from Break Zone.
Playing it from Break Zone on top of that, yeah. That's why there's like a lot of like Titan, Heka, and Heka are all 1-drop, are all just 1-ofs.
Mm-hmm.
Because Summoner just says, wow, do it again. Wow, do it again. I was also playing the new Carbuncle because it works kind of like Mist Dragon. I wanted an ability to protect
Carbuncle's
Leo.
the hex. Yeah, Carbuncle says choose a character you control, dull it. Until the end of turn, it gains this character cannot be broken, and this character cannot be chosen by opponent summons or abilities. If the CP paid to cast Carbuncle was only produced by backups, also draw cards. It literally just gives a card hexproof.
Which I wanted kind of just try and protect Leo a little bit more. I never really ended up playing it that much, but it was like another 1-off card that I think you have some space to move around with. The other thing is like Fenrir would be real cool in this deck because you're the only targets you want to protect really is Leo.
But it plays Leo. Wait, which?
Nope,
Fenrir?
sorry,
You're talking
the
about
1-drop
Fenrir.
Fenrir. Yeah.
I think 5-cost Fenrir is not bad either.
Well, the 1-drops, yeah. I actually, that was in here. I just had to cut it. I didn't have the space. But like both 5-cost or 1-drop, like the 1-drop I was saying specifically because like I'll protect this dude. If it's the Leo, I can just play this for free from my hand for no reason, just free. Like which
Only
I thought
stops
was
it
really
from
cool.
summons though, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like it's just other options to play.
I mean, when does it ever feel good to kill a 1-drop with anything else? It never really does.
I mean, you were literally what was it? What was the biggest? You did something really big last night just to kill just Leo. It was really funny to me.
I don't know. I remember playing a soiree match where I had like a 10 or 12k shot with Elvis, and I had to choose something tiny because killing anything else just gave you more room to play things. And I was like, oh, it feels so bad.
Oh, I remember you Zondade specifically just to kill a Leo. And I was just like, okay.
I had to.
Couldn't
But
let
yeah.
me do free things.
So that wraps up summons. Obviously, there's other things you can play and explore with. I think you could very much,
Earth
if you
has
wanted to.
the best summons lineup outside of water, in my opinion. When it comes to things it can do with its lineup.
I think one of the things you could also put in is 5CP Titan with the EX Burst. I think it's Opus 10 Titan. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Which one?
It's the one that buffs 2k on a dude and then
They
triggers.
fight? It's Opus. Ooh, it might be.
Where's Zeth when we need him?
It has a reprint too.
Yeah.
I think in either 17 or 18.
We'll figure it out.
Well,
you
yeah,
guys can tell us in the comments. It's fine.
Somebody knows.
After summons, we have the limit breaks finally.
Limit Break's the
last
most
thing.
free thing you get to play in this deck too, which is hilarious.
As long as Leo's on the board, you can throw realistically
Or
anything
Riku.
you want in your limits. The Earth limits don't really do much of a difference anyways. So it's kind of fine to just kind of spread out what you play. Titus is really good because you can summon a board state really
Titus
quickly.
was so much fun to.
Yeah.
Here's the thing with Titus though, you do have to like.
Have Leo.
You have to have Leo, and you have to have a full 5.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to pitch one. You have to be able to tap 1 to pitch 1 from hand, and then tap 3, because you have to be able to tap your backups.
Pitch 2. Tap 1, pitch 2.
Yeah, I just mean like you have to be able to tap 1 on board, and tap 3 other ones on board.
Yeah.
Well, because you need to color fix with your backups because your hand doesn't color fix.
Yeah.
But it is very cool to go. I guess I'll pitch 2, tap 1, play Titus, tap 3, do cool Titus things.
Yeah. So yeah, Titus is good. Surges is really good for the freeze effect. Cloud obviously will break anything at 3 or less. Toto's just a board wipe, which you already play at least 3 depending on how you play the deck. James, for instance, when we built this deck out, had Genova Synthesis, Neo X Death, and Hecatonchir, so that's at least 3 different board wipes in the deck. And then put Toto in the limit break, and you have 4 board
in
wipes.
my limit break, like you can watch the video. I think in my limit break I wasn't playing Toto, but you can. It's not that big a deal. I had 2 Surges, 2 Cloud, and then 1 Titus, and then the last one was I was playing one of Zach, because it was just in case
for trades.
it was
Or
either
Hecatonchir.
trades, Hecatonchir, or if Genova couldn't kill.
Mm-hmm.
It was, or the other thing is just wool. Because the other cool part about Titus, not really Titus, but the other cool part about Zach was if I had a wool in hand, which came up in one of the games,
Yep.
like a Warrior of Light, I could pitch the Warrior of Light and play it without needing to have Leo on board. It wasn't really helpful, but I mean,
It did kill.
it killed the thing.
Shinryu.
But like, yeah, that's
killed
right.
Shinryu.
I had the Hecaton share.
You had
Your
to
thing
wipe the
lived
board and then-
wool the play.
Yep.
But
I was losing that game. That was so bad.
But
That was the. I think that's the one
it's like
where
you got to kind of color fix for that, which was neat. You
Well, it's just
don't
good color fixing.
The problem is the biggest problem with your pool of like limit bursts you can play is you don't get to play Leo, which is the best one.
you can't because you
don't
have
get
Leo
to.
on board. Yeah.
That's the biggest sad part about Limit Break is you don't get to play Leo, which is arguably the best Limit Break.
I do want to wrap this up. This one's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Final thoughts overall. I think this deck this is one of the top tier decks currently in the format. I think it's a very consistent deck. If you ever have the feeling of like, oh, this deck's too slow, it's like 4 to 5 backups on turn 2 sometimes. Very consistently, it gets to 4 on turn 2 if it needs to.
Yeah, like quickly.
Yeah, I've never played a game against James unless he just draws terribly.
Or minor misses.
Or if minor misses terribly.
How many backers do I play in that deck?
This one has 16.
And I've missed minor, I think, 8 or 9 times when playing. I think we only hit it like twice.
Play 3 minors. You only play 2 in here.
Well, I didn't feel like I needed 3.
maybe you need a third. But yeah.
Maybe I need
so
more backups.
I think it builds
backup.
the back line really well, and then
Right.
everything else just kind of funnels from there. It's
100%.
really consistent on how it works. You have cool little interactions with the one that we have built here where we play at least one copy of Robo. We play the Monk Crystal Gen backup.
Yes.
So
Because not only does a draw and give you a crystal, you're one of Robo that you can play off of
we'll break something.
Leonis.
And then if you want, with Qatar on board, you can break a backup to buff something, and then Robo can pick it back up and play
The
it.
reason I was playing Robo was I wanted the ability to, if I need to break with Ingus or Qatar, I could to save dudes and do things, and then Robo would just recycle my backups, which also meant I could break backups that didn't matter and recycle leathers, like Leather Order, and just play for free again.
Yep.
We were also playing a one of Sophie, because you can bring that with Qatar, and you easily can put like 4 dudes on the board and turn like Mont Leonis into like Qatar into like Sophie is an 8K, and then you can just Qatar to give it 2K for the turn, and then at the end of the turn, ping off Sophie, draw your card, do a cool thing, be prepared to do other things, or like go into an Ingus to search out a Leo, play a Leo, tap 2 others, play Sophie, and you have 3 dudes on board. Like there was a bunch of cool things you could do at like one point, just drop dudes on the board really fast.
You have anything overall? You were the one piloting this one this time, so.
The deck was very good. The deck had struggle points, at least for me, when it was trying to fixate a point between choosing a game plan between Leo and doing those color fixing things or doing just like mono earth things. Because like Gilgamesh is really cool, but it really sacrifices 6 CP to really do it. So sometimes I felt like on that turn. So like sometimes I felt like I was struggling between choosing that, pitching enough cards to play Mont Leonis if I didn't have enough dudes on board and I need to set up, or if I really wanted to save a Wool and a Leo to be able to do that turn in the future. There were also points where I struggled because there's a bunch of one-ofs in the deck, which I know like Mono Earth already this style of deck already does it because you can toolbox so well with Mont Leonis. I struggled with which cards I felt comfortable pitching at certain moments, and that could just be like a practice thing. But like I've had trouble, especially because you kept playing Irvine, and it was fucking frustrating.
Look,
but like
man,
I struggled.
You said it. I'm not allowed to never play that card anymore.
I told you. I would quit the game if you stopped playing it because it's so frustrating to play against that I don't want you to not play it. As convoluted as that sounds.
No, I get it. It's just another way of saying the card's really good.
Yeah, and if you stop playing it, I feel bad as a person.
You're hindering yourself.
Yeah. But like it just felt like I couldn't decide what things to pitch at certain moments to play certain things. Like there were a lot of times where like I chose not to pitch a guitar, and then I'd play this other thing with put like a Susie He's in the discard pile on the plan to play a guitar later, and then just drawn to the second guitar, and I'm just sitting there like, well, I should have pitched the guitar and not the Susie He's, I guess. And it was just a bunch of like small moments where it felt like I was having trouble choosing between the exact path to choose that kind of screwed me up a little bit. I'll say that the deck is very highly dependent in certain moments on both your backups and your Leo or Riku in the case, where that's very dependent on those. Because you can't color fix without those, so all your color dependent stuff doesn't matter. And without your backups, Leonis isn't good, Ingus isn't good, Leo isn't good, and Riku isn't good. So like if you're playing against like an Earth Water deck, there's a bunch of matches. There's especially that first one. The first one I actually just wanted to quit and not record for the rest of the night. It was so frustrating. I built the 5 backups, and I think at the end of the game I had 1. And it wasn't from a lack of trying. He just kept playing Une and kept playing.
There was one game specific. So that's also one of the reasons I don't think I put Une in here. I think Une is a weakness. Is just Mono Earth.
Well, anything that gets rid of backups.
Yeah, Mono Earth losing its backups really hinders the deck, obviously.
Especially if doing so you pitch
very heavy on its. It relies on its backups to pay the cost for things because of Leo. So there was a game which will probably be up eventually where I think I played Une at least
3 times.
3 times.
I got rid of it 3 times. He still kept playing.
And I kept replaying it because I was like, well.
And then you heck could beat once, I think, too. No,
I didn't have I had a Fenrir.
No, you did something. What was it? Oh, you Titus to me in the same game.
Oh, yeah, Une and Titus.
I think it was the most frustrating thing on the planet.
Yep.
I just wasn't allowed to have backups, which means I'm not allowed to play the game as a Mono
It's funny because that's closer to the play style I want more than anything is just debuilding. I think I can just build.
That is your best deck, in my opinion. It's how you got your top 16 or top 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I said play that.
We love playing summons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, like, comment, share, subscribe.
Tell us what we did wrong in the comments, what you think you liked and disagreed with.
Very important.
Make sure to check out our Patreon supporters up there. All the best stand decks are going up there a week early before everything else. I think right
Patreon
now,
down below.
As of this one, the Soiree one went live a week ago. So this one will be up on Patreon hopefully a week after that. And then a week after this, it'll be live to the public in general. I'm trying to work this schedule out. It's a little more difficult because of how Patreon works with YouTube videos, but that's a story you guys don't need to know about.
That's a behind the scenes thing.
Yeah. You'll hear me complain about it probably a lot.
But as always,
stay alert.